Hey, it's Tess. I decided to go live. I'm a little bit later today, but I don't want to miss a day. I ran downstairs because this is the month of March, and for anybody who has been around for a while, they know that March is the month of St. Patrick's Day. Not that I'm a big, huge celebrator of St. Patrick's Day, but St. Patrick's Day is around four-leaf clovers. And four-leaf clovers are a big thing in my family. My grandmother taught me to find four-leaf clovers, and probably in my lifetime, I wouldn't be exaggerating to say that I've probably found 50 of them. And since she passed, I've probably found anywhere from 3 to 5 leaf clovers, because that was something that she always wanted to do, but her and I never accomplished it while she was still here on earth with us. So I believe it was her hand from above that helped me to find the 5-leaf clovers after she was gone. But I went downstairs and I was looking at books because I remembered having a book that was all about clover, and it was kind of like folklore. So I figured I was going to pull that book out, but I may have possibly donated it, or I'll find it somewhere else. But in the meantime, I found this book, Outwitting the Devil, by Napoleon Hill. It is Napoleon Hill. I thought for a minute I'd say the wrong name. And I started opening it up, and I have like Post-it notes in certain areas that I didn't take off, which means that they were meaningful to me. And I thought, what were the areas in this book that I still had tagged and didn't take them off, even after I did a live or I read this book a couple of times? And I think that on this one, what I found to be really interesting is that there's a lot of talk. This is like Napoleon Hill, and there's a lot of controversy around this book. And it wasn't released until after he was gone, and it was quite a number of years. But it's like a conversation with the devil. And it says that the idea is that they talk about something called drifting. And I think there's a lot of drifting going on in this world. And basically drifting is, the reason this was speaking to me is that in a talk that I was just listening to before I came on live, there was a mention of gifts that are taken to the graveyard. What are the gifts that are God-given gifts to you that you don't use to move forward in life? And I often wonder, I've always been driven, but there's been times in my life where medical conditions or issues arise that stop me from moving forward, and you got to try to find a way through them, and it's not always easy. But I thought, is that always the case with everybody, or are some people afraid to try to move forward? So I thought I would go back to this book, and I remember that there was a lot of talk about the word drifters, people that are just kind of coasting. And to me, a drifter would be very similar to what is called taking your gifts to the graveyard with you. So I thought this was kind of interesting. And Napoleon Hill, Outwitting the Devil, a lot of his talks and his books are really meaningful to me. And I see a couple people on, so thank you for being here. I appreciate you. But this idea with Napoleon Hill is that drifting is if you take laziness and you add indifference, it'll equal procrastination. And procrastination will lead to drifting. And what was interesting about this book is it says, the idea of drifting, this describes a true drifter as defined by Napoleon Hill. Since I have been a true procrastinator for most of my life, this hits a little too close to home for me. I like to use the excuse that I work best under pressure, but that isn't all of it. It's an excuse for why I procrastinate. Can you think of examples in your own life when laziness and indifference led you off your path to success, when an opportunity slipped through your fingers because you were too slow to seize it in time? And what's kind of interesting is there's a lot of questions and answers throughout this book, like, is man the only creature who drifts? And this is like Napoleon Hill talking to the devil. And the devil says, yes, all other creatures move in response to the definite laws of nature, but man does not. We have the ability to drift. Basically, that my phone is reconnecting, so I'll be quick tonight. But it talks about the idea that drifting is not being connected to what you need to do to move forward, and that God uses that, or not God, the devil uses that against us. Because if we become lackadaisical, things in life will pass us by and we'll never have an opportunity to move forward. And I think about, I mentioned this yesterday or the day before. For those who are not familiar, I will share that my book that I released, is it right here? Maybe it's not right here. Maybe I'll put it somewhere. I'll show it to you tomorrow. But in my book, I was talking about, I got myself distracted. This isn't a good thing. But drifting, it was the idea of, do you continue to move forward? And I did talk about that. I had a period of time for about 10 years that I was massively anemic. And I actually had to have a lot of treatments and infusions. And I remember that after this period of 10 years passed, I was sitting with my primary care doctor. And she made a comment to me because I had finally gotten to a point where I'd gotten past it. We had found what was wrong. We had surgeries. Everything was fixed, and I was moving forward. And I can remember that my doctor told me that for that entire period of time, and I was pretty young at the time, she had been contemplating medical retirement for me. And a part of me was heartbroken that she didn't do it, because the years where I was going through that were rough. They were really, really rough. But I just kept pushing through, and I said, why didn't you medically retire me if that was something that I would have qualified for? And she said, you had a light in you, and that many people give up or they drift through life if there's even a spark. She said, I don't like to let that happen to someone. So this passage are about Napoleon Hill and drifting, it really kind of resonated with me, because I think she was right. I talk about that with my book. I'm going to actually get a copy, and I'm going to go give it to her, because she's not my primary care doctor anymore. She's actually moved a little bit further away, but it will make her feel so good to see that all the things we went through, because we went through 20 years of stuff, that she saw something and I didn't let her down. I pushed through it. And I think that that's for most of us. A lot of us sometimes become victim to what happens in life instead of trying to pick up the pieces and move forward. I'm not saying it's always easy. I'm not saying that it isn't without pain. I'm just hoping that we can all find somebody that we can reach our hand up to and move on to the next spot, knowing that we don't ever have to give up on ourselves. We don't have to be that person that goes to the graveyard with our gifts because we're not sharing them with the world. And I think that was what was so meaningful to me at the conversation with my doctor, is that would I have given up on the gifts that I'm here to give if she had given me the out? She made the decision not to let it be my choice. I didn't know it was a choice, but she saw something and she was afraid that I was not strong enough to stay on my course. And I think that's for many of us. We all have to hope that in our lives, when we're struggling, when we're trying to push to that next level, that there's somebody there that even if they're only a step ahead of us, they can reach their hand out and help us to the next level. And I think a lot of that is with my book, and I wish I don't know what I did with it. It's probably in the, oh no, here it is. For those who haven't seen my book, this is my author copy of my book that I put out about, it came out on February 6th. But it talks about all my journeys. And for those that don't know, in the back of the book I actually put, I was once a BMI of almost over 60. And I had to get to a point, now I'm almost 10 years out in this life. Well, through the things that I went through in my life, I've gotten to a point where my life is better than I ever thought it could possibly be. And that's why thinking about the doctor who didn't let me medically retire when maybe I would have qualified for it, gave me the greatest gift in my life, because it's allowed me to experience things that it would have been a shame to miss, meet people that it would have been a shame to never meet, and to experience things in life that will allow me, because I always say now that my goal is that when I am called home, that I come sliding in, God gives me a high five and says, you might have started late, but you didn't disappoint. And that's what I want for everyone. I know we all have those struggles or those times that are difficult, but please don't give up, and please let somebody that's just a step ahead of you help you on that path. It isn't always easy, but it's really beautiful as you start to see the light open up a little bit more each step of the path. I want to thank all of you who have purchased this book. I want to thank you for the reviews that have started coming in. And I want to thank you for all those throughout my life that have supported me, even in the moments when I couldn't support myself. So I want to thank you all. I want to also share, for those that don't know, I was an insurance accountant for 30 years. I have left the W-2 world. I'm working with Chris Noggle, and I've become a life insurance agent. I am studying the infinite banking. I'm a student of the infinite banking policies, which is kind of where Nelson Nash comes in. But I actually, or no, but not Nelson Nash, not Napoleon Hill, but the infinite banking process, which is what the banking systems that the rich use, because now I am at a point where I can teach people to try to take control of their financial future in a different way, not behind a desk, but up front in teaching what I've learned in the past 5 years and in changing my life. Now, I know it's a Saturday night, so I'll let everybody get back to it. But thank you guys for always being here, for supporting me. I mean, so many of you I didn't know 5 years ago when I was first challenged to go live. And I'm blessed to be surrounded by so many beautiful people. And life, I'm so grateful to be where I'm at right now and thankful for each of you that I've met on this journey and excited for the next time I get to connect with you. So have a beautiful night and thank you for everything. And we'll talk soon.